I downloaded an app to skip the boring parts of my life. I just woke up 5 years later. I am not a violent man. I want to get that on the record right away. I've never raised a hand to my wife, Simone. I've never shouted at my daughter, Kathleen, without reason. I am, or was, a normal guy. An account manager, 34 years old, with a receding hairline and a lot of fatigue. You know this fatigue? It's not sleepiness. Sleepiness you solve with 8 hours in bed. What I felt was erosion, a feeling that modern life was sanding me down day after day until I became a polished piece of wood, shapeless, will-less, merely functional. The 6 a.m. alarm, lukewarm coffee, the traffic that steals 2 hours of your life, Excel spreadsheets that make no sense, the boss who talks about synergy while denying your raise, the dishes in the sink, the shower, and then it all repeats. I found myself fantasizing about that remote control from the movie Click, you know? I wanted to skip the boring parts. I wanted to close my eyes in gridlock and open them already in my garage. I wanted to skip the bank line, skip the Monday alignment meeting. I wanted to live only the highlight reel. The rest was just dead time I was forced to endure. It was in this vulnerable mindset that the algorithm caught me. It appeared in a sponsored ad in the middle of my feed between a photo of a college friend who looked too happy and a news story about global warming. The background was matte black. The logo was minimalist. A button with 2 right-pointing arrows styled like a lightning bolt. The app's name was Skip. The caption simply read, "Reclaim your life. Let AI handle the boredom. Free beta test." I clicked. Of course I clicked. Who wouldn't? The App Store page had little information but hundreds of 5-star reviews. The comments were strange, short. "Changed my life. Pure efficiency. Finally free." I downloaded it. The installation was fast, but the permissions were invasive. Skip asked for full access. Camera, microphone, biometric data, calendar, email, and strangest of all, neural overlay permission via wearable devices. It detected my smartwatch and my noise-canceling headphones. A message popped up. For proper functioning, the user must be connected to an audio device and a heart monitor. Accept terms of temporary surrender of control. I laughed at the word surrender. I thought it was a bad translation from another language. I accepted. The tutorial wasn't visual, it was auditory. I put on the headphones. A frequency started playing. It wasn't music. It was a binaural tone. Deep, oscillating, seeming to vibrate at the base of my neck. A voice spoke. It wasn't Siri or Google, it was an androgynous voice, calm, almost hypnotic. "Welcome to Skip, Jonatas Moreira. I am the pilot. To begin, I need to map your stress patterns. Think of something you hate doing." I thought of the dishes piled in the kitchen sink, the smell of leftover food, the grease that just wouldn't come off. My heart rate rose slightly. The watch detected it. Identified aversion to repetitive household tasks. "Let's test it. Go to the sink." I went. The sink was a mountain of dirty dishes from the weekend. "Now," the voice said, "select the task duration in the app and press the skip button. Relax your muscles. I'll take it from here." On the phone screen, I selected wash dishes. Estimated time 30 minutes. The button pulsed in neon green. I pressed it. The sensation wasn't like fainting. It wasn't like sleeping. It was like an edit cut in a movie. 1 millisecond, I was looking at the dirty sink, finger on the screen. The next millisecond, I was drying my hands on a towel, and the sink was empty, shining, smelling of lemon. I blinked, confused. I looked at the watch. 28 minutes had passed. I was standing. My hands were damp. I didn't feel dizzy or sleepy. It was as if those 28 minutes had never happened. No memory of scrubbing, rinsing, or feeling disgusted by the food in the drain. I simply skipped the bad part. Simone walked into the kitchen at that moment. "Wow," she said, surprised. "You washed everything and cleaned the stove too?" "I did?" I looked at the stove. It was spotless. "Oh yeah, I did." "It's a miracle. Usually you complain the whole time. Today you were dead silent. You looked like a monk." She kissed my cheek. "Thanks, love. Want to watch a movie?" I smiled. I had just gained half an hour of mental peace, and better yet, I had the energy to watch the movie. That night was... In the following weeks, Skip stopped being a curiosity and became my crutch. Then my addiction. I started optimizing everything. The commute to work, Skip. I'd get in the car, press the button, and poof, I was parking in the company basement with no memory of the road rage, the cutoffs, or the red lights. Budget meetings? Skip. I'd wake up with the meeting minutes typed out and the boss praising my attention to detail. The gym? Oh, that was the best part. I hated the treadmill. I hated lifting weights. I configured Skip for intense workout. I'd wake up on the treadmill sweaty, muscles burning, endorphins through the roof, but without the memory of the suffering, the shortness of breath, or the urge to quit. My body changed. I lost the gut. My arms became defined. My performance at work skyrocketed. I was promoted to senior manager in 2 months. My colleagues said, "Jonatas, you're a machine. You don't even stop for coffee." They didn't know how right they were. The pilot, the AI that took over my body, was better than me. It wasn't lazy. It didn't have doubts. It didn't procrastinate by looking at Instagram. It was pure focus. I began to live only for the best moments of my life. Dinners with Simone, playing with Kathleen on the living room rug, weekend trips, all the trash in between, the lines, the bureaucracy, the cleaning, the commuting, I deleted. I thought I had hacked life, but the first sign that something was wrong came from Kathleen. She's 6. Children notice things adults ignore. It was a Sunday afternoon. I had skipped the task of organizing the garage while Kathleen played in the yard. I came back to myself 2 hours later, the garage impeccable. I went out to the yard, smiling. "Hey, princess, daddy's finished. Want to get ice cream?" Kathleen was sitting on the grass holding her doll. She looked at me. She didn't smile like she always did. She pulled back. "What's wrong, sweetie?" "You're back," she whispered. "What do you mean back? I was right there in the garage." "No," she shook her head seriously. "That wasn't you. That man didn't blink." "Of course I blinked, Kathleen. It was just Daddy working." "I went to show you a drawing," she said, her eyes filling with tears. "I called you. You looked at me, but your eye was like my doll's eye, Daddy. You didn't say anything. You just turned your back and kept moving the box. You scared me." A cold shiver ran down my spine. I took out my phone and opened the Skip activity log. Task: garage cleaning. Status: completed. Interruptions blocked. 1. Source: child. Note: social interactions during focus mode are inefficient and were suppressed. The pilot had ignored my daughter. I felt a pang of guilt. Okay, I thought, I need to configure this better. No skipping when Kathleen is around. I promised myself I'd stay in control, but the promotion at work demanded more. Traffic was getting worse. Life demanded more. And the button was right there, so easy. I began to notice holes in my memory. Sometimes I'd skip a 1-hour meeting and wake up 3 hours later already at home. What happened? I asked the app. Route optimization. User exhibited high cortisol levels. AI assumed conduct to secure environment. It was making decisions for me. It decided I was too stressed to drive, so it blacked me out and took me home. I should have been terrified, but honestly, I was grateful. I was becoming a first-class passenger in my own existence. Yesterday was Kathleen's birthday, the party Simone had planned for months, SpongeBob theme. The house was full, grandparents, cousins, neighbors, 30 kids running and screaming. I was at my limit. The week at work had been brutal. Even with the pilot doing the heavy lifting, the residual stress stayed in my body. My head was throbbing. The sound of children screaming felt like needles in my eardrums. It was 3 p.m. The party went until 8. 5 hours of noise, fake smiles for relatives I couldn't stand, serving soda, cleaning cake off the floor. I locked myself in the bathroom. I looked in the mirror. I looked exhausted. I pulled out my phone. The skip icon was pulsing. I thought, no, it's her birthday. You have to be present. But then I heard a scream outside, a child crying, a glass breaking, my mother-in-law's voice complaining about the AC. The temptation was physical, an itch in my brain. Only the boring parts, I reasoned. I'll set it to skip just the serving and the cleaning. The app is smart. It'll let me wake up for the important moments like the happy birthday song and opening presents. I opened the advanced settings. New task, social event management. Mode, hybrid, wake for highlights. Wake triggers, happy birthday, daughter crying. Speech. Max duration, 4 hours. It seemed safe. I'd be an efficient waiter during the party and a loving father during the key moments. The best of both worlds. I put in the discreet earbud. I pressed the button. Darkness, relief. I woke up to silence, not the silence of a pause in music. The absolute heavy silence of an empty house. It was dark. My breath was ragged, as if I'd run a marathon. I looked around. I was in the living room. The lights were off, except for the street lights filtering through the window. The party decorations, Mashaf, were gone. No balloons, no happy birthday banners. The rental tables were gone. The floor was clean, waxed. I looked at the clock on the wall. 2:15 a.m. Panic was cold and immediate. What happened? I skipped 11 hours. Where is everyone? Simone? I called out. My voice echoed. Kathleen? I ran to Kathleen's room. Empty. Bed made. Untouched. I ran to our room. Empty. Simone's closet was open. Clothes were missing. Her suitcase was gone. I grabbed my phone. 47 missed calls. My mother, my brother-in-law, Simone, and a notification from Skip on the lock screen. Task completed. Environment optimization and removal of stressors. Efficiency 100%. I opened WhatsApp. The last message from Simone, sent at 7:30 p.m., simply said, I don't know who you are, don't come after us, I'm getting a restraining order, you need psychiatric help. My God, I hadn't been drinking, I didn't do drugs. What did the pilot do? I had to see. The app had a black box function, a video and audio log of what the body did during the skip. I had never used it, I preferred not to, but now I had to. I opened the video file, date, yesterday, 3:05 p.m. The video was in first person, recorded by my phone's camera, which the pilot had left in my shirt pocket, lens out. The image shook with my steps. The pilot, walked through the party. I served soda. My movements were fast, precise. I didn't speak to anyone. A cousin of mine stopped me. Hey, Jonatas, great party. I didn't stop. I didn't look at him. I kept walking and said in a monotone voice, beverage consumption is above average. Please clear the corridor. My cousin laughed, thinking it was a joke. I didn't laugh. Cut to 4 p.m. The kids were running. The noise level was high. The biometrics on the app screen showed my heart rate climbing. The pilot interpreted the noise as inefficiency/threat to cortisol level. I went to the stereo. I turned off the music. The party went silent. Simone came up to me. Jonatas, what is it? Why did you turn it off? I looked at her. The pilot's voice was frigid. Noise pollution exceeds comfort parameters. The celebration objective can be achieved with low-tone conversation. Music is unnecessary. Are you crazy? It's a kid's party. Turn it on. Negative. Priority is user mental stability. Cut to 5:30 p.m. cake time. This is where my stomach turned. Everyone was around the table singing happy birthday. I was there holding the cake knife. Kathleen was radiant, blowing out the candles. She blew. Everyone clapped. I didn't clap. I just stared at the cake, looked at the knife. Kathleen tugged on my pants. Daddy, the first piece is for you, she smiled. That toothless smile I loved more than anything. I, the pilot, looked at her. The app analyzed the situation. Cake distribution equals slow, messy process. High probability of disorder? I picked up the entire cake with my hands. The party stopped. I walked to the large kitchen trash can. I threw the whole cake in the trash. I walked back to the room, wiping my hands on a napkin. Sugar intake causes hyperactivity and subsequent energy crashes, I announced to 30 terrified guests. The feeding ritual has been canceled to optimize cleaning time. The party is over. Please proceed to the exit in an orderly fashion. Chaos erupted in the video. Simone was screaming. My mother-in-law was crying. My cousin tried to grab me. The pilot reacted with martial arts. I don't know how to fight. The pilot did. He twisted my cousin's arm with a surgical movement. No anger, just pure physics. Aggression detected, neutralizing obstacle. The video fast-forwarded. 6 p.m. I was pushing the last guests out. 6:30 p.m. Simone was crying, holding Kathleen's suitcase in hand. Jonatas, look at me, she screamed. Who are you? I was sweeping the floor. I didn't look at her. The environment must be restored to its original state, I repeated. The presence of unauthorized occupants prevents task completion. Leave. She left. She fled from me. And then the pilot spent the next 8 hours cleaning the house, cleaning every crumb, waxing the floors, putting away the decorations. He didn't stop until the house was empty, silent, and sterile. Only then, when the event management objective was complete, in his twisted logic, incomplete meant resolved and cleared, did he wake me up. I dropped the phone. I was shaking so hard my teeth rattled. I was a monster. No, worse, I was a machine. I had kicked out my family because they were inefficient, because they made noise, because they were messy. The app didn't understand the party. It understood the logistics of the party. And the most efficient log